I'm way too low on the screen. Good morning, lovely people. How are you? There's lots of people already here. It's so nice to see you. It is actually a public holiday here in New Zealand, but I decided I would come and do the podcast because I've been away for ages and I really enjoyed chatting to you last week. So here I am for another podcast on Thursday, the 6th of February. It's Waitangi Day down here in New Zealand. So everybody has a holiday. Let me put my glasses on. For those of you who are new, I'm Libby from Truly Myrtle. I design knitting patterns and I'm also the founder of Wardrobe Toolbox, and that is where you come and find out how to make sweaters fit you, to tailor things so that they're just right for you, and just to learn a little bit about some more knitting techniques and things. But also it is such a lovely knitting community. We are constantly inspired. We have all sorts of guests that join us. We've got all these plans for the next season. I cannot wait to show you. We are working on some cool things, and it's going to transform the way we do things in there, especially for people that are just coming in new. And the new season will launch in April. So we open the doors twice a year. I'll tell you this now because it's coming up and you might want to mark your calendar. We open the doors twice a year. In March for an April start, and then in September for an October start. I'm changing things up just a little bit this time. I'll talk to you about it a little bit more when we get closer. I'm going to just have we're just opening the doors for 5 days. I just don't want people left in limbo while they wait to start. It's an awfully long time for people to wait. So we're just opening the doors for 5 days. We're opening them in I think it's the 31st of March is the date that they're opening. And then you'll be able to join us, and then boom, we're straight into it. And we've got, oh my gosh, I'm going to blow your mind. I think this first month is going to be so much fun. I can't wait. So Barbara says, my life revolves around what happens each week on Wardrobe Toolbox. Yes, Barbara, me too. It's really fun. I'm looking forward to it. So it'll be season 11. The other thing is, Wardrobe Toolbox has been here for 5 years. This is our 5-year anniversary coming up this April. 5 years. So I thought, that's a good time to sort of, we've grown up a little bit over there, and a lot of you know a lot, and a lot of people that are coming in know less. And so that's been a challenge, and I'm thinking we've got some plans for that anyway, so that everybody feels like they're getting what they need. But at the moment, every season we do a survey and we ask everybody how it's gone, and we're in the throes of just going through that and looking at your suggestions, everyone, and what you want. And then from that, I love it that we are so nimble, so we can actually say, oh, okay, we'll dump that idea. They want this. Let's do that instead. So that's what we're doing at the moment. Let me say hello to you all. I love this part of the podcast because I get to chat with you. Oh, Di, it's nice to see you, and Sabrina and Muriel and Barbara. It's really nice. Hi, Amanda. How are you going? Oh, you're doing a very long spring fling cast off. Spring fling I think she is my favorite shawl I've done in a very long time. I'm so looking forward to the cooler weather. Like, I don't want summer to go, but I'm starting to itch for, some of those, wintry clothes and cooler weather. It'd be really good. Hi, Carol. Nice to see you. Oh, you've finally made it for the first time in 2025 live. That's nice to see you calling in from Australia. And there's Kim and Janice. Nice to see you all, Claire. Hi, Marianne. Nice to see you. It's going to be 30 plus where you are in Australia. That is certainly warm. It's been so warm, hasn't it? You guys even more. Hey, Stephanie. Nice to see you. Amanda said she's a proud day one member of Wardrobe Toolbox. There are a lot of people still in Wardrobe Toolbox that started on day one. A lot. And what I do is I grandmother the price. The price. So the price you pay when you sign up is the price you keep forever while you're in there. So of course, some of those people that came in right in the beginning, they were taking a big punt, weren't you, on me and the whole thing. So anyway, we grandfather through the price. So the price this time is going to stay the same. $38.50 New Zealand dollars a month, and then you get a discount for the full season, but it is going to be better for you. I just can't wait to tell you about it all. I'll tell you about it all soon. It's really good. Hi, Bernadette. Oh, you're traveling to Picton. Oh, my son left Tuesday morning, and they drove from Auckland. He and his girlfriend drove from Auckland all the way to Blenheim in one day. That was a huge day, and so they left about 7 in the morning, and they hit Wellington and then caught the ferry, and then I think they slept. They got a cabin on the ferry, so they said they could sleep, and then off to Blenheim. So anyway, they're in Blenheim for a couple of days. Hi Janice, nice to see you. I hope everyone's having a great Waitangi Day. Yes, exactly. Hi everyone. It was so nice to see you all. Oh good, Amanda said it was the best punt ever. She's learned so much. Yeah, it's been really interesting, hasn't it? I think these last 5 years. I can't believe it's 5 years. Okay, I was going to show you what I've been up to lately. I decided that this year I am going to do more. I need more time. So I've actually got more team members in Wardrobe Toolbox to help me now, because it's a huge thing. It's a huge undertaking doing it all. I absolutely love it, but there's a lot to do, and so I've got more people to help me behind the scenes, admin. I say, could you just make that for me? Could you tag all this? Could you put that together? Could you make? And so I've got some fabulous helpers who do stuff for me, and the idea is for me to grab back some of my time, steal back some of my time. So I thought what I'd do this year is I'm actually going to try and have Fridays as a you can do whatever you want, Libby day. That's my plan, and so far I've managed it. Last Friday I really didn't do anything. I was thinking I would sew, but I was actually really tired. It's been so hot. I haven't been sleeping the best in the heat, and I thought, I think I just need a chill out day. So I potted around and chilled out all day on Friday, and it's really good. I think it's going to really help me, because to be creative you need space, and when you just go all the time, it can be really hard to be creative in that environment. You just need to I need to potter. I'm a potterer. I need to have a little bit of a quiet time. The girls go to school. I can just come out here and I can potter around and I can think about things. And anyway, I've been doing some sewing. So for the last few weeks, I've been having a bash at doing this. And I've actually made things. Don't fall over in shock. I have been sewing things. So let me show you what I've sewed. The first thing, I am completely in love with this. Now I cut it out at the end of last year, and it's a skirt, and so I'll show you. She's really long. She goes nearly down to the floor. She's so gorgeous, and I've made her. I had this fabric. I bought this fabric from. I can't remember the name of the emporium. It was something like Rogers Emporium. Here in New Zealand, we have like Jeff's Emporium or Pete's Emporium or something like that, and they're these shops where you have all sorts of stuff in there. You know, like kind of old-fashioned. $2 shops before $2 shops came along, or $1 shop, or whatever they are. I don't think they're that anymore. They're like $10 shops now. But anyway, I bought this fabric in Devonport, for those of you people who are here in New Zealand, at the Emporium before it shut down. And I don't think it's there anymore. And I think I paid about $3 a metre for the fabric. It's a viscose, and it's a cotton viscose, and I think I paid, viscose, I think it was about $3 a metre. It was crazy. So I bought heaps of it. I thought, I just absolutely adored this fabric. Let me show it to you. I thought it was it's not really showing up as sort of bright as it is. It's quite bright. It's pretty good. Anyway, and I thought, I want a flouncy skirt out of it. I had one that I bought from an op shop years ago, and it died over the years, and I wanted a flouncy skirt. So I have 3 tiers to my skirt. And the pattern I used was this one. I did use a pattern. And so I made that skirt on the end here. And I pretty much just followed the pattern. I didn't do anything too crazy. I haven't got the name on it. I need to write the name on it. But this is the way I keep my patterns. I've showed you this before. So everything gets stuffed in. And I've got an old filing cabinet that my sister left behind when she went to England. I'm just popping them in the filing cabinet. So it's called the Mave skirt, M-A-V-E, and it is by True Bias, I think. Yep, it's by True Bias. So that is the skirt itself. So there are a couple of options, and it has got pockets, and I have got pockets. I've got pockets in it, which I'm really thrilled about. So here's a pocket. Look, it's a good juicy pocket. One thing I've done lately, I traced my pattern. And I actually bought myself this roll of like architect's paper, because I had a bunch of stuff. I had some this, I had the yellow tissue paper, but it was a little bit narrow. And I found this, it's like architect's paper. It wasn't cheap, but I think I've got enough to last me the rest of my life in the roll. And it's stiff, like you can see it's stiff. And so I can actually fold the pieces and they're pretty durable. So here's one here. See, I just fold it up. So what I do is I just trace it. I write on it what it is, and then I can just fold it up. Oh, I did actually cut into that one, which I've sellotaped up. But I can just fold it up and put it away, and then that is super durable. And so it lasts and lasts. So that is how I'm storing my patterns. And then I still have the pattern. I get them printed onto A0. I still have that, so I can go back and use it again should I need to make another size, which is quite possible these days that I need to make another size. So I keep all that in my envelope like that. So that was the Mave skirt. So let me just tell you a little bit more. It's a really good pattern. It was easy peasy to follow. We had a lesson in Wardrobe Toolbox recently. We have extra sewing content, which is really good just to, if you're wanting to learn to sew, or if you are a sewer, if you want to just get a bit more confident. We have lovely Audsley who comes in and does sewing content for us, and she runs sew-alongs and things, and it's totally optional. You don't have to join it, but it's really useful. And she actually did a session recently, I think it was the last one she did, on pattern matching. So pattern matching was in my mind, and I did pretty well up here to center my pattern, but then I forgot about it. I actually had a bit of a dither about what on earth should go at the front, because there's some pretty strange, I could have had some really bad pattern placement here, but in the end I decided that I put this one as sort of bang in the middle. I think that worked out best. How do I make this centered? I've even got a label in it which says made with love, so that's obviously the back, but I was pretty good with the pattern centering on the top yoke. And then I did actually center it all when I cut it out, but when I sewed it in, and you don't actually notice when I'm wearing it because it's so flouncy, but I should have centered that one with the gather, and I just sort of forgot, and I just sewed it in. But you don't notice, they are more or less centered down the front. So hang on, let me just see if I can, they're more or less centered, but they do kink off just slightly to the side, but it's so busy I don't think you notice. Like I said, it's got these pockets, and I quite like the way when they got you to sew the pockets, they actually got you to sew them in a little bit, and so they sit quite into the skirt, which is nice, and then you stitch them so they stay at the front. And with the waistband, it's quite a deep waistband. I can show you at the back. It's quite deep, and you do these 2 lines. Let me just remember what I did. I did 2 lines of elastic with a center channel, and then you make a cord, which I knotted on the end. Oops, you can see I just did a little knot on the end of this little cord, but the knot, it's really nice because you can actually, like, you can pull and loosen it. And so I did my elastic reasonably, like I didn't do it really snug, but I can actually snug it up if I want to, just by pulling the cord. It just gives it a sense of being slightly tighter or looser. So yeah, it's really good. I like that. I think I'd quite like to do that waistband again on another skirt. It's quite tall. It's as tall as my thumb. So it's about 2 inches, I'd say, that waistband. Anyway, it is just lovely. I just hemmed it with my machine at the bottom. I put some black cotton in my overlocker, so it's all got black on the inside, which I thought kind of worked a bit better. But I have loved it because I love a swingy skirt. I find them really cool. I just love it that it just goes all the way to the floor, and all the wind blows. It's really nice. I can tuck things into it, or I could have it's better with something a bit tucked into it, I think. It's quite a lot of fabric if I have something hanging out the top, but I'm absolutely thrilled with it, and I think I could make another one, although I don't want to make another one so soon. I just want to make some other things. So what else have I done? Let me have a sip of tea and I'll tell you. Let me have a little look at your messages. Oh, you're so nice, you guys, saying nice things about Wardrobe Toolbox. and your weeks revolve around Wardrobe Toolbox. Susan's the same. It's gorgeous in Melbourne. Oh, I'm glad, Rebecca. That's good. Totally the best thing, Katie. You're so nice. Susan said, you're frantically trying to finish everything and use your stash to start new things. That is actually my mission this year as well, Cindy. Not Cindy, Susan. Maybe Cindy's doing that as well. But I am doing some massive stash diving this year. I purchased a lot of new yarn last year. Over the years, I have purchased an enormous amount of fabric. And my goal for the year is to use stash first. Like, there might be occasions where for the yarn, I think, oh, actually I will get maybe a bit more of one that I've got if I've just bought one skein of something and I decide to use it. But overall, I'm diving. I'm stash diving. I feel like some of this stuff has been sitting here for ages and I just want to get it moving and get it used. And one of the things about Wardrobe Toolbox that I love is that I feel the freedom to give you patterns even though you can't get the yarn. And I try not to do it that often, but I will do it because we learn how to substitute and we learn, you know, what your gauge is going to be like in a yarn. We learn about how different yarns behave. And then if you want to take a pattern and turn it into yours, what kind of yarn you need to do that with. And so whether or not you can get the yarn that I have becomes a little bit irrelevant because you can actually figure out how to achieve the look that you want with the yarn that you want. Oh, there's a big flying thing in here. So I feel a little bit of freedom around that. But yeah, as I said, it doesn't always happen, but sometimes. In fact, that is exactly how we launched Wardrobe Toolbox. With way back 5 years ago, I launched Wardrobe Toolbox with a shawl called Medley, which I know a lot of you have knitted. And I used 3 skeins of fingering that you really couldn't get. And the idea was I wanted to start off by saying, hey, go stash diving. Let's talk about yarn and how, you know, I just have this love of understanding yarn. And so that's how I launched it. And as it happened, the whole world at that very moment, I had no idea. I must have on some psychic level knew this was going to happen. The whole world was thrown into lockdown and people couldn't get yarn. And so they were having to go into their stashes. So that was just bizarre. That was so bizarre. But it was a good way to start. So everybody, I think that's one of the messages that we're trying to do is, you know, you've probably got what you need in your stash. Although it might also be like buttons. And when you go to get a button, you just don't often have the right button, right? Oh, good. Yeah, Catherine. Yeah, we all need a bit of a break. Yeah, I think so. I think that's just my aim for this year. I want to make more things. Cindy is trying to use stash. Are you too, Cindy? You might have to add something here and there. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling, Cindy. Just like that. Yes, I know. In New Zealand, we had absolutely no choice. It was a perfect timing for us. Okay, so what else have I done? I actually, I did a lot of things before Christmas so that I could have my breather over January and, you know, spend a bit more time with my family, and we had visitors and all sorts of things. And so I was racing like crazy to get everything done. And one of the things I didn't really finish was the sweater that we have just received in Wardrobe Toolbox this week. This week? Yeah, this week, Monday. And so I did knit over Christmas and New Year. I spent quite a lot of time knitting, and the weather wasn't crazy hot, so that was quite good. But I did spend quite a lot of time knitting, and I knitted this little jumper, and I really like it. I'm really keen on this jumper. She's a little bit different. She's called Freya's Echo. I started her with a view to using Latvian braids. That was my first thing. People had asked for Latvian braids in Wardrobe Toolbox. You can't buy this one at the moment. It'll come out next year, but this is the latest Wardrobe Toolbox pattern. So you can't rush off and buy it at the moment. Anyway, I had this idea that, okay, they want Latvian braids. Originally I thought, shall I do mittens? And I thought, no, I don't think I want to do mittens. I think I'll give them a jumper. So I thought, how am I going to incorporate Latvian braids into a jumper? And I thought I'll do a yoke jumper. So this sweater has 1, 2, 3, 4, and the other one, 5 Latvian braids. I think I've done enough Latvian braids for quite a while now. But by the end of this jumper, you will be a master at Latvian braids. And as I told my wardrobe toolboxes, the secret to Latvian braids, I'll just tell you now, is to throw your yarn across the room. You biff it as far as you can, so you have as long a piece of yarn as you can, and that just helps with the tangling, because the first row of your Latvian braid, it all gets really tangled, and I found the farther I threw it, the easier it became. So that's the major tip. But what we did learn is we learned how to make a jogless Latvian braid and finish it up beautifully so it all is tidy when you make it. Anyway, she's a yoke sweater and she has this lovely lace in her as well. I just wanted a mishmash. I just felt like, I don't know, I've been seeing everything around in the shops, and I've been seeing a lot of stuff that's coming out, and I keep thinking, oh, I just think I'm over neutrals. I think I'm just over it. I'm just a bit done with plain and neutrals. I just feel like going a bit wild. So I have gone a bit wild with this one. So she's got plain and then short rows at the top, and then she's got your braids, and she's got some lace, and then I thought, let's go colour work for the body. And so she's got a nice little puff sleeve with some colour work, sleeve at the bottom. You pull it in and you do a little bit of an extra colour at the bottom. So she is all on. She is a statement, this one, Freya's Echo. She's beautifully warm and beautifully light, because I used a fingering, quite a light fingering woolen spun yarn to make her, and so it just makes the colour work really well. I did catch my colour work inside. I'll show you. So it's all caught, but I did break it every round, which meant there was an awful lot of ends to weave in at the end. You probably could carry it if you want. You can see I've woven all my ends in down the side. But anyway, I'm really pleased with her. I'm so looking forward to wearing her. But I thought, what on earth am I going to wear her with for the photo? I knew I wanted something. I just wanted to wear something a bit louder. I don't know what's come over me, guys, but I just wanted to wear something a bit louder. So I thought, I think it needs something with more of the gingery brown, was my first thought. So I had a peep in my stash, and I found this fabric here, which is very, very old. This is the fabric I ended up using. I saw it and I thought, oh, that's it. That is the fabric. So she goes together with the jumper. That is the fabric, and it's fabric from my mother's stash that she bought when we were little, like really little. And I think she said she made a pair of overalls for one of us out of it. So this fabric is quite possibly 40 years old, possibly older than that. It's a needle cord. It has got a couple of places where, look, it's just slightly discolored. I don't know if you can see that, ever so slightly discolored, but it's not too bad. And I had a smidge. I just had barely enough to make a skirt. I'll show you what she looks like, because I can't put her on. So I printed a photo. That's what she looks like. And she's an A-line skirt with a zip up the back. It doesn't have any pockets. I can see if it can focus. But it's an A-line skirt. So I had a lot of fun making this. Oh my gosh, it was quite challenging for me. It took me an entire day. I will say, with the Fridays, this year I've said to one of my daughters, you're cooking on Wednesday, another one, you're cooking on Thursday, and Mr. Myrtle, you're cooking on Friday, because I have found that with my sewing days, I just don't want to stop. And so I say, somebody else has to make the dinner, I'll be in to eat. And then I come in later when it's all done. I just don't want to stop. So for the pattern for this one, I used this pattern here, and I made a version of, I guess, A and B, a version of it. I didn't put the pockets in. I contemplated it, but I just didn't have enough fabric, and the pattern matching was just going to prove to be a bit of a nightmare, and I didn't really want to add any more bulk to it. I didn't want it to be too thick. So I did a version of one of those. Now, I've had this pattern for about 12 years, maybe a bit longer, because around about, well, I think it was about 2012. I think it was about 2012 or 2013, I made this skirt. So I've had it for a long time, and I made 2 of these, and this was the fractionally larger version of the 2 I made. And I just used quilting cotton, and look, I didn't really do such a good job with matching it. It's tricky because it's on a slight, sort of on a slight curve. But anyway, I made this skirt. I didn't do too bad at the back with my invisible zip and stuff. And I did a little, I just didn't have enough fabric, so I did, oh look, I need to repair that. That's the other thing I've been doing, actually. I've been doing a bit of mending. That was what I actually did last week. Anyway, so I did a bias binding on the hem, which needs to be repaired, clearly. I never wear this skirt anymore. It doesn't fit me. It's too tight. I think I cut out something like a size 10. I was really, really little back then, 10 years ago. I was just my original self, and I am not that size anymore. So I came to do the pattern. I thought, oh, that's a good pattern. I've made that several times. I'll use that pattern. That can work for what I'm thinking with a A-line. And I came to cut it out, and I cut all the pieces. I cut all the pieces to size 10, and that was a real pain. It actually originally went from size 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and I worked out I was probably a bit thick around the waist, possibly even a 14, but I knew I needed to add width to the whole pattern. So what I did was I measured myself, and I laid out the pattern, and I looked to see what the the gaps were between sizes in various places. Some are wider than others, and then I just cut it out to my measurements best I could with the fabric I had available and matching the pattern. It was full on. It was a mental exercise. It took me quite a long time crawling around on the floor. Anyway, I blew my mind with how well I was able to do it with the pattern matching and make everything line up. And it fits perfectly. That was, I have to say, that was a little bit of a fluke in the end, I think. I didn't expect it to work out quite as well as it did. I just made one massive faux pas, which I'll show you in a minute. But I decided to cut the yoke on the cross because I thought that was more interesting. And you know how I said before it was on an angle? I just thought I needed to have something a little bit different. But I was very proud of myself because you can see I've got seams that go down here. Look, and I decided what I'd do after our lesson about pattern matching. I decided what was more important to me was the pattern matching acrossways. That was very important to me. And so when I cut it out, I made sure that everything was matching. And then what I did was when I sewed it, I did a basting stitch, and then I checked it, and then I adjusted, and then I sewed it. And so I didn't just zoom it up. I just did take my time with it. So on the front and the back, I was so pleased. The pattern matching is absolutely spot on, and the same down the side. I actually can't believe I managed it. So in that respect, it looks quite professional. I'm quite pleased with that. And I got a good amount of length in it, so it's quite long. And my daughter found these really cool chocolate brown leather boots at the op shop, which she bought for her, and they're just fractionally too tight, and they fit me absolutely perfectly. So I've got these awesome boots to wear with it as well. So but the one thing I did was I did everything perfectly, and then I was getting a bit tired and I didn't want to stop, and someone else was making the dinner, and that was all good. And then I stuffed up the zip. I mean, I don't actually think you're going to notice when I'm wearing it, but I notice, but I'm just going to forget about it because it's at the back. I used an invisible zip. They don't use an invisible zip in the pattern, but I used an invisible zip, and I got the pattern matching. It was all great. It was all great down here, up the back. It was all great. And then I put the zip in, and pattern matching was not great. Pattern matching really wasn't great, and you can see I've butchered it slightly there to try and make it work. And then I put it in, and then I thought, I'll show you what happened. I put it in, and I was like, what the frig? I've done it too low. I've put it in too low. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was so busy trying to make it as good as possible with the thing. I should have put it in that much higher so that the zip came to the top, and I didn't. And then I looked at it and I thought, I'm not going to take that out. I'm just going to leave that. And so I've actually put in 2 hooks and eyes just to close it. I thought if anyone is looking that hard at my waist at the back, then, oh well, all power to them. So my back isn't perfect. I mean, look how beautifully I matched this. I did all that. I was working so hard to make it all look good, and then there's always something. But never mind. It was fixed, sort of fixable. So you can see the back isn't, look at my zip, you see? It slightly bothers me, and I had a little bit of a hole down there, and I didn't want to bother around with it, so I just tacked it up and then I stitched it down. I mean, it is all lovely. It's all beautifully done, but the zip was a bit of a fail. But never mind. It actually works beautifully well, and I was so thrilled to put her on. And then I was like, boom, this is fitting. This is amazing. And then I had her with my jumper for the photos. You wouldn't believe how hot it was that day. It was so freaking hot. I was so hot that day when we were doing those photos. It's always the way. Anyway, that was my that has been my sewing adventure. I was going to show you one more thing actually, which I will. I'll just read your comments. After several years of not sewing, I did my first sewn garment this week, and I'm thrilled with the result. I've got a stash of linen fabric and a dress is next. Oh, Barbara, that's so good. Barbara's in Wardrobe Toolbox. So I think it's been really inspiring having just the ticking along of the sewing stuff, and we're trying to pitch it so that, because a lot of people in Wardrobe Toolbox sew or want to sew, not everybody, but it's just an extra. It's not the general guts of Wardrobe Toolbox. It's just a little extra that we do. But there's been a variety of sew alongs. I think we're up to the 8th sew along, and so there's everything from shirts and skirts and trousers and project bags. But this one we're doing one right now, which has just started, which is on it's actually about learning your machine, walking your way around your sewing machine, and making things for it. Like, I need to make a cover for my sewing machine, so I was like, yes, can we do that? I need to make a cover for my sewing machine and my overlocker. So it's those kind of things, and a pin cushion. And so if you're just getting started, it's quite a good one to join in on. We're going to do things just slightly differently next season, but yeah, it will still be there. We'll still have sewing content. Amanda said, I love knitting this, the jumper. She said she made hers short sleeved. You just need to find a new location to do your blocking that your crawling infant can't get to. Oh yes, I know, your gorgeous little baby. Barbara says, with dogs in her house, throwing your balls of yarn was not an option. I discovered that 100 stitches equates to approximately 1 metre of each colour per braid. Oh, well, that's a good idea. So you just know you need a metre. You do 100 stitches, you get a metre. I suppose you could do it like that. Oh, cool. Yes, thank you, Charlotte. Yeah, I thought it was a really good... I think it does match really, really well. I know it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but like I said, I'm not feeling the love for neutrals. And so I think, get ready, guys. we might have some bright things or interesting things. Oh, it's so nice to see you, Natasha, joining live from the UK. It's not too late there at the moment. Oh, thank you, Barbara. You've seen way worse on sewing on commercial garments. Oh, you're really nice. Oh, Katie, you've got everything you need to learn to start spinning, and then you'll move on to sewing, but I can't wait till I move house. Yeah, when you get settled and everything, you open everything, it'll be like Christmas, and then you can get stuck in. That'll be good. I wanted to show you, when I was putting this jumper together, I was thinking about, I was swatching a whole bunch of things. I've got a reasonable amount of the yarn, and I had quite a bit of the cream, and I had quite a bit of the ginger. And so I've actually got 4 colours in here. I've got the ginger, I've got like a chocolatey brown and a cream colour, and then the blue. And you can't really tell that I've got the 2 browns, but this one is darker, and I used that just so it popped a little bit more. This one and this one are a little bit close in value, and I used the darker one through the body. But I was thinking I didn't quite know what to do. So I'll show you some of my swatching that I did when I was sort of planning, just to give you a sense of what... You don't have to do massive swatches when you are figuring things out. So I think the first swatch I did was just playing with some ideas with colour, and I did this little swatch, and it became pretty apparent to me that the blue wasn't going to stick out so well, and with the brown I could see it. I just felt you could see everything from the wrong side. I could have caught the little lengths at the back, but I just thought everything would be too visible. I quite liked the idea of a cream jumper with the colour on it, but it just wasn't going to work for me with what I was thinking. I tried it again, with some other kind of patterns just to see how I could make it work. And again, I just felt that it just wasn't popping quite as much as I wanted. Did some little triangles at the top. So I just do these tiny little amounts to get a sense of what it is that I want. I did a bit of the lace till I decided, that's what I decided, oh yeah, I want that lace. That's what I'm after. So I realized I wanted it in that. I did a little bit of braid. These are just little practices I did so I could see what I was doing. And I think I used, oh yeah, I did use the darker brown for that, just to see how it would pop against that and doing my braid. And then when I came to do my swatch for the body, I did a bigger swatch in the round so that I could measure it. And then, you know, I did that. There's some that aren't here because I ripped them out. When I was working out how I wanted to do the snow, what I called snow caps. And so originally I was thinking I'd do the snow caps up that way. And I thought, no, I think they look better. I had a few conversations with my family. Do you think it's this way? Do you think it looks better that way? Which way should we do the snow caps on the thing? And I'm lying it all out together with the lace. I'm lying it out and the braids. And I'm thinking, should I just take a photo? And just trying to work it out. But what I did in the end, when I sort of got a sense of, okay, I think I'm going to do the braids and the lace and the snow caps, and I think I've got a sense of how I wanted to pull it all together. I was still a little bit undecided. Well, I just thought, am I absolutely sure about the colours? Am I 100% about which colour goes where? So what I did was I drew a page of really unattractive yoked sweater. You know, I mean, that is not artistic, anybody. It's pretty easy. You can all draw that. So I drew some unattractive yoke sweaters. I pulled out the colour pencils and I tried to find, I did a swatch up here of all the colours I had, because I actually had some yellow as well, which I didn't end up using. And I just did a swatch to try and find the colours that I had. I tried to match them. And then I set about and I did a couple of sketches to experiment. And so this was what I ended up doing, was my first idea. But I did think, oh, maybe I could put that brown, maybe I could make a sort of a gingery jumper with the blue at the top as the lace. And then I just very quickly, I didn't have to do any more. I just thought, oh no, that one, that's the one. I didn't end up doing the coloured band at the bottom of the hem. I just left that off, and I didn't end up doing a coloured band at the top of the neck. It just all became too much. But I'll tell you a little story. I started knitting, and I had a lot on. It's very hard to juggle a lot of things when you're trying to design a sweater. Anyway, I had a lot on and I was doing a lot, and I started knitting and I was tired, and I just knew this is when I was sort of going to the end of the year, and I've got a photo somewhere. I think when I first put the pattern out, I'd done about that much. Well, I had a photo of me about them. I got to about there, and I just had a real wobble about my colours. Even though I'd done that swatch, I had a bit of a wobble. And so I ended up pulling it back and I did it again, and I swapped out the braid. I just wasn't sure whether they wanted the braid to be the chocolate. And I swapped it out and I made the braid blue and cream, and I kept going. And then I did a bit of that and I tried it on and I thought, oh, this is absolutely not working. I don't want it to be the blue. And I knew I didn't want it to be the blue, and I'd written down I didn't want it to be the blue, but for whatever reason, I just doubted myself, and I just decided I'd waste, a week and rip it out and start again, or however long it was, to realize that it didn't work, and I had to go back and do the other. And then when I went back, I changed a few things anyway, just in terms of the, whatever, just for sizing. So it all worked out fine in the end. But I did doubt myself about the colour of this braid. And I may have actually thought that I'd do the lace cream as well. I don't recall, but I do remember I put blue in the braid. Anyway, I realised afterwards, I remembered this thing that happens. And I thought, oh my gosh, I got sucked into the thing that happens again. And I term it, I don't know, other people might term it this, but it's this 25-75 rule. And generally, not always, but what can happen, you might find it happening to yourself, but you may not do anything about it. You may not be reckless like me. When you get to about 25% of the way through, which I probably was close to, you have a wobble. And you think, oh crumbs, I'm not sure if I like this. Do I like this? Like, I'm invested now. and this is how it's going to go, and I'm not sure if I like it. And you have a wobble at about 25%, and then you may or may not decide to do something about the wobble. And then again, at about 75% of the way through a project, you can have another massive wobble. So I think what happens is you've seen the colours and you've seen the combination so much, because it's hours and hours and hours that you've been doing it. And I think you think, flip, I'm a little bit sick of these colours. And then there's a little part of you that's like, I've done a lot of these colours. I'm not sure. I think it's something about that. And then at 75%, you think, oh no, I've made the most catastrophic error. I've totally gone wrong. What am I doing? I'm going to hate this. This is just dreadful. And at that point, I think a lot of people put your project to the side and you think, I just don't even know if I like it. I think beware, because you might be at the 75. And I think when you get to 25, just beware of not doing what I did and start again and then realize actually you were fine. I think a better option probably would have been for me to just go back to the picture, do another picture, maybe do it a bit closer so I could actually visualize it without ripping it out, and also just putting it down for a couple of days and not looking at it and then coming back with fresh eyes. But pushing through when you're feeling a wobble, I think it can lead to hopeless. It can be hopeless. So learn from I've done this so many times as well. I've done it so many times that I actually think I wrote about it on my blog years ago, but it is a really common thing. And I don't think it's just knitting. I think it's a lot of things. I think it's things that you do in your life. It's things that it's all sorts of things that we have this wobble at these various points, 25, 75. And you just have a little bit of a moment. So it's worth remembering. I didn't remember. I completely forgot until afterwards. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. The 25%. And don't do that again, Livy. Don't do that again. Rebecca said I had that 25% wobble on my spring fling and I restarted it 4 times. It's not uncommon. It is not uncommon. I think just somehow we've got to write it down. Like, don't forget. Don't stop at 25%. You're probably fine. I wonder if you ended up changing or whether you ended up going back to what you initially thought, Rebecca. Be funny if you went back to what you initially thought after all those times. And Barbara's saying that she loves the 3D effect of the Latvian braid. Yeah, it's really nice because it does just stand slightly proud of the jumper. It's really good. I just thought, yeah, what is fun? I just wanted some fun. And I think she'll be really fun to wear. And I think if you find some colours that suit you. I think that was one of the other things, that these colours, particularly this ginger colour, I didn't realise until I knitted Alex last year, which is coming out soon actually. I'll put that one out. That ginger colour is really good on me, and I think I'm more golden than, I don't know, I just always get a little confused about what my colours are, my undertones. I think I'm actually green, but I think this colour works quite well on me, so it was nice too, but I didn't want all that colour again. I wanted it to be a little bit different, so that was fine. Amanda said I did that with my timely at the 25, but I was too invested by the time I got to 75 to undo it. You see, I think what happens at the 75 is that we don't necessarily undo it, but we don't finish it. And so we might just say, this thing, and then put it in a bag and then put it somewhere else and start something else. I think maybe we do that more than we rip it back. Right, 25, we definitely rip it back. Carol said, I've never heard the 25-75 wobble explained so well. I do this with my quilting. Yeah, I don't think it's not just knitting by any means. It's all sorts of things. But yes, it's a pain. Rebecca said, I went back to 2 out of the 3 colours that I initially thought, but I did change 1 and now it's finished. I'm really happy with it. That's good. Becky said, I had that too, but I showed the jumper to my sister and her reaction was so instant about loving the colours that I kept going. Oh, Becky, was that for the one you're doing now? Because Becky's is beautiful. It really is. Your colours are a little bit unusual, aren't they, Becky? And they are just beautiful. It works well. They work really well. I think I'll talk about it more when it comes out for everybody next year, because I'll put this one out this time next year, and we can talk more about colours. But I think while I've got the wardrobe toolboxes listening, and for anyone who's making it right now in there, because it's such a kind of a quirky pattern, I think you can get away with doing some pretty wild colors. I think there are some beautiful testers ones where they've got some very, very soft colors, very tonal colors. They do look beautiful, but I think you can push it. I think because it's a little bit quirky, my feeling is you can push the colors and just go for something that just is just a little bit out of your comfort zone, and I think that they'll work. And Becky, yours, I really love yours. I think yours is beautiful. So if you want to go and see some of the projects for this jumper, Freya's Echo, so you can't buy it at the moment. It's in Wardrobe Toolbox. But if you want to go and have a look, you can have a look on Ravelry, and people have put their sorry, my daughter's thrusting my phone at me with a message. Should I me to pick that? No, they're probably fine. If you can organise what they're going to have for lunch. There we go. She's got friends coming today. Becky said it was gold, grey, brown and black. Yeah, it looks really good, Becky. It looks really, really good. Okie doke, everybody. We've obviously got people arriving shortly. We've got a house full of girls today, so that'll be fun. And it was lovely to chat to you on this Waitangi Day morning. For some of you, it'll be a regular working day, I suppose. Those of you in Australia, for sure. Others of you, it might be night time. But it was lovely to see you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to I know what I'm going to make next. I'll tell you, because it's already over there. I didn't bring the fabric over. But, you know, I should show you next time. But I made the Ogden cami. I actually fixed one of my Ogden camis the other day too, because I've done quite a bit of fixing. I fixed hems, and I fixed the little strap on my Ogden cami came away, and I fixed that. And I have to still fix a pocket on my dress that I made that has the Ogden cami top, and then I put a skirt on it at the bottom with pockets. And you know how we've talked about this before, how you grab your pocket on the doorknob, and my pocket ripped, and so I've got to fix that. But I'm going to make another one of those dresses because I wear it so much. I love that dress. I've got it in a beautiful linen, and I've got some more linen over there, which is like a coral colour. And so I want, before the end of the summer, that's going to be my next project, I think, is making another one of those Ogden cami top. It's just a little shoestring top, and then the dress falls away from here. It just feels so lovely to wear. Pockets in the side. Just throw some sandals on and you're away. And I'm going to make another one of those, and I'll have to cut the pattern off the one I made before, because I just totally winged it before, the bottom, and so I'll just make it the same because it worked out. Katie says, my first double time after it was finished, I found it was too big in the shoulder section, so I've put it to one side. The one I'm knitting now has mods, and it seems much better. Oh, good. Yeah, choosing a size, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Just getting that size that fits you at the shoulders. It's a little bit of an art, I think, to learn to do that. Oh, you're going to love to see that dress pattern. Yes, I'll show it to you when I've made it. How about that, Cindy? I'll bring them both and I'll show it to you. And I just, I made up the bottom, but it's not hard. And I'll talk you through that when I do it. It's really nice. Okay, I might get that done. I probably won't do it tomorrow. I might cut it out, but then I might try and sew it up next week on Friday. So it'll be a couple of weeks before I show you. I have something else to show you next week, I'm sure. Okay, everybody, have a really, really happy day. It was lovely to chat to you, and I will see you all soon. For those of you who are just tuning in for the very first time, the way to stay in contact with me and the way to get discounts on my patterns when they come out, and to hear about Wardrobe Toolbox when it's open and all of those things, is to jump on my mini mag. And so you go to trulymyrtle.com/mini mag. I'll put a link below this video, and click on that and just jump on my mini mag list. And it's just an email I send to you every Friday morning, and it's just short and sweet and a little bit chatty, and but that's where I do all my chatting to you, you know, generally. I'm not fabulous at social media. I'm actually quite rubbish at social media. I just sort of forget about it. I am trying to be better, but my email is the way to stay in contact with me, because I'm a bit of an email girl. All right, everybody, I'll catch you later. Have a really, really lovely week, and do lots of knitting and making. And I hope you find a Friday or another day that you can just indulge in everything you want to make as well. All right, everybody, I'll see you later.